pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint a treasurer pro tem for the purpose of roll call and also taking notes in the absence of our treasurer this evening due to illness.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion. Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Roncone?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Let's call the roll. You have to call.
Okay. Here we go. Hudson?
Here.
Whitmer?
Here.
Guy?
Here.
Roncone?
Here.
Hurdle?
Item number 3.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the agenda. However, I would also like to add to that we adopt an amended agenda, omitting any action on item number 16 on the agenda until the January meeting due to a change in Ohio law.
Let me take a look at it. I'm still waiting for this to come up here. I'll second that motion.
Discussion. Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Roncone?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 4. Superintendent's report.
Okay. I'd like to take an opportunity to recognize 2 long-term board members who have given a great deal of their time and commitment to the Columbiana Board of Education and Columbiana School District. Not only has Dr. Jay Hurdle been part of the school board, but he volunteers every Friday night for our football team, at least in the time frame that I've been here in 5 years. And his dedication to our school district has been outstanding, and we certainly appreciate the time that you've dedicated, and we certainly will miss you here on the board. Also, Mr. Randy Guy, in the same sentiment, has been a giant part of the board, and I know that his presence will be greatly missed. And just recently, Mr. Guy, just to show you that one of many times, has reached out to his organization, which he works, and probably more than $25,000 worth of furniture and goods from IBM was donated because Mr. Guy was part of that process and getting us into having an opportunity to have some beautiful things brought to us, filing cabinets, furniture, desks, all things that can be greatly used in the school district. And that's just part of the way that Mr. Guy goes about his leadership and the things that he's done for the school district. So we greatly appreciate everything, and we will certainly miss you. Okay. The next one is our media honor roll. The OSBA provides us an opportunity to recognize our media, and I can tell you that certainly in the time that I've been superintendent and working with different media folks, Katie Schwendeman has been outstanding. She reports things accurately. She she puts in the little details that we have at this meeting that demonstrate what we do at Columbiana. And we can't be any more fortunate to have somebody like Katie that reports our meetings and gets out the information. She goes in for details, and yet she's very fair-minded for our school district, and we've been very fortunate, and we thank you for being part of our team. Now, surprisingly enough, I don't have a PowerPoint for you today. However, I know you'll miss that. There'll be no clapping for that. I've asked, we've been meeting with superintendents and some other groups in athletic department and administration, and I've asked a couple of gentlemen, Zach Forrest and Kyle Kruder from Great Lakes Biomedical or Medical Services to come and talk to you a little bit about a program that I think would be of great benefit to Columbiana schools. And it is in the way of testing our athletes and our kids in extracurricular activities to make sure we're doing things the right way. Also that give kids in my opinion, a reason to say no to drugs. And so I've asked them to come and present a little bit. We met with them, Lance Hostetler and I met with them. I was about a month or so ago, maybe a little longer, to look at this program to get an idea of what it's all about. And simply at least bring this forward to you at this point to see if this is an area we can move forward with. So guys, I'll turn this over to you, and thank you for coming.
Good evening. I don't have a PowerPoint. My name is Kyle Kruder. I'm the owner of Great Lakes Biomedical. This is Zach Forrest. I'm the sales manager. We are a drug and alcohol testing company that specializes in school drug testing. We currently service about 50 schools, give or take, in the Ohio and Michigan area. We've been doing this since 1997, I believe, and had a lot of success with the program. Among other things, we provide full services. We help you with policies. We help you with medical review officers. We help you with the lab. We pretty much will do just about everything for you. So, I guess the biggest thing to remember with drug testing of students is, deciding to randomly drug test your students is not about how bad you think the problem is in your school. It's about how much you're willing to do to help your students. What's the purpose of drug testing? The purpose is to deter. It's not about catching kids and calling the cops, whatever. It's giving kids one more reason to say no. So when does the program work the best? Let's say it's Saturday night, two couples are out, they're going to a movie, for example, they get there a little early, I say, well, what do you want to do? Someone pulls out a joint and says, hey, I know what we can do. Well, maybe the other couple, hey, wait, we get drug tested, put that away, let's not do that. Okay? So right there, that's where the program works. Again, it's a deterrent, one more reason for kids to say no. A lot of times if you would look up drug testing, let's say on the internet and such, for student drug testing, you're going to find all sorts of stuff. Pros, cons, this report, that report, it doesn't work, it does this, it does that. And I'm here to tell you the program does work. And I've got some research that you can look at if you'd like to. We have empirical data from the Hunterdon study, the Saturn study, Ball State, a lot of work from Joseph McKinley and Robert DuPont. And you can even go to the Wood County Educational Services, which is Wood County, Ohio, very close. For example, they got a grant a number of years ago, about 4 years ago, to do student drug testing for 6 schools. We happen to be doing the testing for all 6 of them. And the short story with them is during a time when marijuana use was going up for all the schools in the nation, on average, all 6 of their schools, marijuana use went down. So it's right in our own backyard. The program works. I also encourage you There's a list in those packets here, like most of the schools that we do. I don't think they're all in there. Call them up. They like to talk about the program. Talk about the athletic directors, talk to the principals, the superintendents. They'll tell you that the program works. It makes a cultural change in your school. It does not eradicate all drug use, of course, but there is a change. And they come back with stories that you just won't hear otherwise, about kids that come back to them from college and say, hey, by the way, thanks, because I went down a different path that I was going down the wrong one, and because of this, it did help, gave me a reason to say no. A lot of success stories, and we encourage you to talk to them. They'll tell you. Now, if you're going to look things up on the internet, too, you're going to find out a whole lot of myths about drug testing. You're going to hear, and sometimes you hear it from parents and such, too, but they are myths. Most students and parents are against drug testing. All the kids are against it. The parents are mostly against it. Wrong. Statistically, nationwide, 76% of the parents are for student drug testing. About 10% don't care, so that only leaves 14% that is against it. Students, and again, talk to the schools. When students are individually talking to like administrators or superintendents, not groups, but individually, they're going to tell you that they're for it too, the majority of them. Not everyone, but the majority. You're going to hear that, well, drug testing, well, that's expensive. You're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for this. No. Our test you can do for under $15, definitely under $20 a test. Very inexpensive, and they work. The big one you often hear is, well, if you do that, there goes the football team. You're not going to have any sports left. You're not going to, you're going to turn all these kids away. Everyone's going to be against the school and against doing sports and such. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. There was a report that came out a few years ago in Indiana. There were 65 schools that did student drug testing. And they surveyed all the principals in the schools. And they had some interesting figures. The majority reported that student drug use had decreased since the program began, and that did not affect student activity participation. Did not. High schools with drug testing programs exceeded the state average for test scores on the state-mandated graduation tests, as well as exceeding the state average for graduation rates. 46% recorded an increase in student activities. Increase. Now, I don't have the straight line or dotted line or exactly why that is, but there is an increase. I think it's just because it's a safer environment. The kids don't have to deal with as much stuff as they normally would. So, then the question comes down to, okay, so who can you test? Let's test everybody. Well, that would be great, but you can't. Fourth Amendment, Supreme Court, you can only test people that are doing extracurricular sports, parking passes, things that are considered a privilege. The bottom line is the government makes you go to school, so they cannot make you take a drug test, but they don't make you park, they don't make you play football, chess. What is important to know, though, is that you cannot impede a student's progress towards graduation. And what that means is you can't flunk them out of something, you can't expel them out of the school, things of that nature. We're here to help. We want kids to stay in the program. We want kids to continue doing the activities. We just don't want them to do drugs. So just briefly, I'll just tell you how the program works. We use what's called rapid screens typically. We can do any type of test that there is out there, but rapid screens are the most economical. So the best way to do the program is using what's called a draw the line test, and the draw the line test is where you test everybody, and you give them the date you're going to test. So, for example, fall sports and such, you say August 15th, that's our testing date for everybody. And you might say, well, you just told them the date. It's no surprise. Aren't they just going to clean themselves up for the test? And the answer, yeah, they are. Isn't that great? You found one thing that will make them clean themselves up. I call it draw the line, the wall, whatever you want to call it. It is. Just stops right there. Then you do randoms afterwards to keep them clean. Now, an important part about that part of the program, too, is we have typically a self-referral portion of this test. Self-referral means that if a kid comes up, and it's happened a lot, they know the testing day, maybe it's the day before, they'll come up to their coach or somebody and say, "Coach, I got a problem. I'm not going to pass this test tomorrow." And, think about that. The kid's about 15, 16, whatever. You told them what the test is, they can't clean themselves up. That is a serious problem. So the self-referral, they can't self-refer all the time. There's all sorts of stuff in the policies that tell you how much they can and such. But that kid then has an opportunity. He self-refers, he's not going to get penalized and such, but then he will get counseling and et cetera, go through the process. But you help that kid, where before he may have just slipped through the years without any help. And again, that's what the program's about, helping kids. So, the basics of when we actually do the drug testing, it's very simple. You may also hear some people say, "Oh, it's going to take a lot of time, and the kids are going to be mortified, and it's going to be so..." No, none of that happens. Again, talk to any of the schools that we deal with. The process is very quick. We can test up to 100 to 150 kids in an hour period of time, depending on the bathroom situation. And the kids pretty much come in, do their thing, and they leave. We use what's called rapid screens to start with. How that works is we come in, we tell them, take your backpacks, hats, et cetera, take them off. Here's your cup. Go in, they do their thing, they come back out, we put it aside, and then when it's all done, we will test it. It's like a pregnancy test, the rapid screen. It's a yes or no test. And hopefully, when we're all done, they're all negative, and we're done. But if there is an abnormality, and I don't say positive, but a non-negative is what we call it, then that test will go up to the certified laboratory, where the certified scientist will break it down with the gas spectrometer, send it to our medical review officer, who is a physician who specializes in drug testing. They will then make the determination and probably contact the parent at that time, and then give the result back to the school. And there's a couple scenarios that you can look at with that. Let's say that someone was had their wisdom teeth pulled, Tylenol 3 with codeine. That's what they're on. They got a prescription for that. It's going to be a non-negative. It's going to be an abnormality. The lab's going to come back and say there's so much opioids and there's codeine and et cetera, et cetera. The medical review officer is going to look at that and go, call up the parent and say, "Is there any reason that there should be this abnormality?" And they say, "Well, they had their wisdom teeth pulled 2 days ago, and here's a prescription." They're cleared. The kid is not held out in the meantime. That's a negative test. And of course, there's the other scenario where it's positive, let's say for cocaine, and that's a positive test. And then we tell the school. And at the point that you tell the school, the kid will typically have a choice. And the choice is go down path A, which we hope, or go down path B. Path A is, look, you were tested positive. There's usually some sort of ding, like a 10 hit on like their activities, whatever it is, football games and such. You need to be assessed by a counselor, and you're going to be on the next 5 drug tests automatically. That way it's going to keep you clean. We hope you choose that. But if you don't want to do any of that, you can say, "No, I'm not doing anything like that. None of that." Okay, that's path B. You're out. You cannot continue in that sport if you do that. So the kids have a choice, and again, we're trying to keep them in the program. That's what it's all about. So the program, again, is fairly inexpensive. It's on a sliding scale as far as the type of tests you can do. We can do big tests, we can do smaller tests. They're called panels, how many things we test for. We never tell the kids or the parents what we do test for, but we can fit things into your budget. So if you have a certain dollar amount that you're looking at, we can make the program work for that budget. And if you have an amount of kids and you're saying, "Well, I'd like to do the test this way," we can then multiply it out and give you what the cost is for that too. So it's not just simply, here's the amount, that's it, cut and dry. We will work with you within your budget. And that's pretty much what the program is. Are there any questions?
From the Mahoning County, Columbiana County area, you're working with, 2 in Columbiana County?
Well, the Crestview one I think you're looking at, that's actually in Richland County.
Okay.
That was one south there.
Struthers High School, Western Reserve High School, and Lisbon High School. And of of course, we've been talking with a couple other ones, Mr. Down over at South Ranch.
Right.
But that's in the area. Norwayne and Waynedale, they're in Wayne County, a little bit further west. Vermillion.
Got a question. Have you ever had any parents, because sometimes parents get the idea you're not going to step on my kid's rights, and have you ever had anybody try to challenge, not only the idea of you're not going to drug test my student, but you're not going to do anything with a, not clean result either, because that's affecting his or her ability to participate in a sport and maybe get a scholarship and on and on. Sometimes parents get ideas, and those ideas ferment themselves into visiting lawyers' offices and seeing who they can actually name in that lawsuit. Have you ever seen that?
That is, for the most part, not a problem. Let me explain what that means. First, when you do the drug testing program, part of what you have to do is, before they can participate in whatever the extracurricular activity is, whether it's sports or parking, whatever, they have to sign the consent form.
Okay.
It's a consent by the parent and the student. If they do not sign the consent form, then they've made the decision that they're not going to participate. And again, it's been around for 20 plus years, so it's already been through the court system, so that's a non-issue. They don't have anything to stand on. If they do have a positive test, the first thing is it's all confidential. For example, we will only talk to the designated person or persons from the school. It's often a principal, maybe athletic directors, whoever you guys assign. Coach comes up and says, "Hey, how's Johnny doing?" It's like, "Hey, looks like he has a good arm." I will not talk to them at all about the results. Once you give the results, you will keep them long enough to see if you need to do like 1, 2, and 3. Like if they get caught first time, second time, and third time, there's different consequences. But it does not go in that permanent record. It doesn't go to the colleges, none of that. Again, you may not impede a student's progress towards graduation, and I think that falls within that, so you don't have that. Now, thirdly, we have checks and balances that always fall for the student every time. If anything ever goes wrong in the process, then it always is like, okay, the kid's good, which really doesn't happen, but that would always be the case. Now, if a parent would then say, all right, they're positive for cocaine, and the laboratory says it's positive, I think the lab is wrong, I think they just don't know what they're doing, they have typically the right to challenge that. Now, if they challenge it and want to send it to another laboratory, it has to be a certified laboratory. If they know one, great. If not, we can pick one because we don't care. All we do is report. They can do it. Now, if it comes back that it's still the same result, they have to pay for that. And if it comes back that's a different result, then we would take on that. We have, for the last 10 years or so, had that program, and about once a year there's someone that says they want to do that. But we've had, how many that actually did it?
We haven't had any challenges with the ruling from the laboratory. So they may say, hey, we're going to send the sample away to a laboratory, and then by the time it really gets back to us, they never do it.
And again, I've got 5 kids, and I think I get it. So what happens, it takes a couple of days for all this to happen. So me as a parent, I would be talking about it multiple times every day with the kid. And I think what goes on, and what I've heard from the other, anytime that it has happened, is that the story started to change a little bit. It's like, wait, but you said that this happened, and now you're saying that. So what happens is they eventually confess. And sometimes it's hardest for the parents to admit, what the problem is. But it's a good thing, because it's not, again, we're not trying to punish anybody. It's shining the light on the problem and hopefully making a change of direction with that student.
And there's a development of policy along the way, and one of the things that we've been talking about in terms of athletics is that, one, let's create that awareness for the parent. Let's not penalize. Let's talk about what the problems are that we have with an individual. I've been in administration for quite a few years, and over the time I've worked with parents that have been either in complete denial that something's going on, or we're really unaware. what was happening. This is an opportunity for them to know as much as it is for us to help the child. I see this as a deterrent, and we've dealt with issues over a period of time that I think we need to stop looking at zero tolerance as a format for handling kids and start finding ways to help them. So from an administrative standpoint, I think we're looking for some kind of way that we can help our families, help our kids who potentially have a problem. This company, to me, from getting out there and looking around, represents quality and represents a way that will help us implement something in those lines. This is a first time we're really talking about this. And, this is what I think as a board we have to consider, and, we're by no means talking about implementing something next week. We're talking about, the potential of implementing something for the near future, and certainly to the benefit of our kids. I think that's first and foremost.
Any questions?
Any questions for these guys? I had the opportunity to sit down with them over at South Range, Lance and I, and they let us come in the meeting, and we just felt like, after sitting down and meeting with them and talking about this program, that we wanted our Board of Education to hear what they have to offer us. And, drugs are prevalent out in the community. And I say community, I mean the greater community, not just Columbiana. And every day kids are losing touch with reality, with what's going on outside of school doors. And if we can stop one kid, I think it'd be well worth it. Just one kid.
How do you typically pick the people for the random testing? If you do them all up front, then throughout the year you say you're going to randomly test 20% or whatever. How do you decide who that's in that first 20%, the next 20%?
Excellent question. Again, we do businesses, part of the Department of Transportation, truck drivers, airline pilots, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a certified random number generator that once we get your roster, we just input it there, and then we just say we want 10% or we want 20 kids or whatever. It spits it out. It has some sort of special number on the side that I don't really know how that works, but a statistical guy can come in and prove that it's a random thing. And it's all totally random, which is nice because some schools say, well, we just like to do it ourselves. I say no. I don't know your kids. I don't care who's the best football player or who whatever it is. Just here's the numbers. Here they are. And again, we just test and report.
So the students assigned a number, and that's how it then shoots back the random percentage?
Yes.
So every kid's assigned a number right up front. And then
when they're input through the roster, then it is, and then but it'll shoot back out the name so that we know who to pick, of course. But it'll give let's say we do 20 kids. We typically would do 20 kids. We do 10 alternates in case those kids are not in school that day. Just drop down to the alternate, and it's just totally random. Can they get picked more than once? Yep, they certainly can, and it's good for them to know that too. And may they get picked never? Possibly. It's random.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. Yes. Sure, Mr. Pearl.
Thank you. I came here specifically tonight for this situation as far as the drug testing is concerned. I've been involved in coaching athletics for many, many, many years. I've seen what drugs have done to the lives of many kids, including my own son. And so this is very emotional to me. And I think if we can save one kid from destroying his life because of drugs, and I'm not saying we're not going to save everybody, but if we can save one, I think that is so important. I know there's kids out there right now that need help. And they're not getting it because we talk about parents are in denial, the parents don't know, they don't understand, and it's just, and they need a reason to say no. Peer pressure is so strong. So if we can just say one kid, and I'm sorry I get so emotional, but I've seen it, and I know, and you guys know some kids in the 70s that participated in sports here at Columbiana, whose lives were destroyed because of...
Well, why would you say the 70s?
It was just a guess. Just a guess. But so I think you all understand where I'm coming from, and I just wanted to come and support the thought of this being a way to help kids. And if we could just say one kid, it's over. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I know I didn't ask Brian to come, but when I mentioned to him that that we were entertaining this at the board meeting, he's passionate enough that he wanted to hear what they had to say. And I said, you're welcome to come and listen and hear, and thank you. I'll move on in the agenda. Letter D, Mark's Radios. We applied for and have received a grant in the neighborhood of $6,000 towards Mark's Radios, one for each one of our buildings. This is through the Ohio Department of Education. These Mark's Radios will allow us to connect directly to law enforcement and hopefully dispatch a much quicker, more reliable 911 call, specifically if 911 lines get tied up from cell use or even phone lines. We could be susceptible to being tied up in a very serious situation. So we've gone out and we've applied for and have been granted, and we're going to begin purchasing Mark's Radios for our in-school emergency communications. And I just feel very fortunate that the Ohio Department of Education is running this program in school grant program for us to obtain these resources. So very nice thing to have. And the last thing that I'd like to share with you is, we had our first fall reading test for third grade, and as you all well know from previous presentations, that the third grade reading guarantee is going to be a critical part of what we're doing. I feel very comfortable saying that we've scored higher on this test this time through than in my previous 4 years here in the district. And I know Mrs. Sharshin, the moment I heard they were coming out, I was on top of did you get those scores yet? Did you get those scores? And she got online. She was able to get those to me before I was able to even get the material from the ODE. And we're at 74% with approximately about 21 of our kiddos that we know now where we can focus on to make sure they're where they need to be. And our ultimate goal is to get them at 100%. And I know that now our teaching staff is looking diligently at each one of our kiddos, make sure that they are where they need to be on this third grade reading guarantee, because it becomes so much more critical in the long term for graduation purposes. So I'm very happy that we're above the state average. The state average score is 405. We're at 416 as an average. The state average for proficient or better or above is 57%, and like-sized district 64. So we're well above the average right now, and I'm very happy to report that to you today. So that's all I have for superintendent report.
Thank you.
No PowerPoint.
Item number 5, principal's report.
I'll start for Joshua Dixon. Under curriculum and professional development, and this is in board share, by the way, for you. Teachers will be tomorrow completing their last day of SLO training. They They had 4 days, 2-hour increments, so at the end, we'll have 8 hours of SLO training, which is a student learning objective, and it goes with the other 50% of the teacher evaluation. Eventually, there will be a measurement of student growth combined with teacher performance at the end of the year that we will need to input for a teacher ranking. Walkthroughs continue, observations, evaluations, our first round. I believe all 3 of us, our first round will be completed at the end of the first semester. December 2nd, In-Service Day, I heard lots of good comments. I got lots of good feedback on forums. Columbiana County ESC came in, and I know the 3 of them will probably want to talk about it too. It's very differentiated, even within our own building. Some of my folks were still working on learning targets. Some were starting their mapping. Most had finished their mapping, and we're moving on to designing common assessments and developing a rubric for assessments, as well as using a rubric to assess their own assessments to make sure their map and their assessments were aligned and developmentally appropriate. Under student achievement, IATs continue. Our Obey Bullying Prevention Program continues every Monday with class meetings. Mr. Molson shared the 3rd grade scores with you. Just to reiterate a little bit about 3rd grade reading guarantee, we do have level literacy intervention in place for kids that score basic, limited, and/or proficient but below 400. We're taking those kids. I have 14 children on 3rd grade reading guarantees. 8 of those received a letter this week with their scores saying that if they don't get a 392 or above, they're in danger of being retained in 4th grade. There's ways around all of that as well. If they're retained in 3rd grade, yet they're proficient in math, science, and social studies, they can move on to 4th grade and only have their reading with a 3rd grade teacher that is highly qualified with the K-12 reading endorsement and/or a whole list of things that the Department of Education put out. The only way you can take a child off the 3rd grade reading guarantee is if they would have scored 400 on this, and we did not have any of our 14 3rd grade reading guarantee students. Out of those 14, I believe only 8 were 3rd graders. None of them scored 400, so they'll all remain on that plan for the rest of the year. But just to reassure parents, despite the 3rd grade reading guarantee plan, the kids are getting what they need, whether they're on that plan or not. And that's why you're seeing scores the way you are. We had the 3rd grade guarantee in place last year, but it was a gift to not retain kids that got the 392. So the teachers were and have been on it. Intervention, enrichment, everything. So I'm very proud of them. And this is a year-end test given in the fall. These are kids that just came out of 2nd grade and were only in school for 6 weeks before they took this test. And it's a year-end 3rd grade test. So I'm really proud of them and the teachers. Under health, wellness, and community outreach, this is our 7th annual Giving Tree. This year we're helping 9 families. Over the past 6 years, we've helped 53 families, 166 children. That's over 600 gifts. And I just want to thank people that have given year after year. Our Interact Club at the high school, National Honor Society, Gamma Eta Sorority, Making Kids Count, and our local Rotary. I did, and so I hogged them off, but I do have bulbs left on the tree, and I know it's hard for people to get to school to pick them off the tree. I do have a couple here if anybody's interested in taking a bulb. Our annual way station collection is underway. DARE continues for 5th grade. We did do our required school safety drill with the assistance of the Columbiana Police Department. Dixon students had an art show at the public library over Thanksgiving break. Parent-teacher conferences were well attended. We did cancel them halfway due to inclement weather. We'll be making those up tomorrow evening from 3:30 to 6:30. Aiming High is coming still for kindergarten through 4th grade. We did visit Main Street Theater, and 3rd through 5th graders got to see It's a Wonderful Life, and it was awesome. And K2 will be walking next week to see Polar Express. I had a community resource fair. It was not very well attended. The agencies that attended, I listed there, and what they have to offer: Family Children First Council, the Counseling Center, the Way Station, Family Recovery, and the Big Reach Center, Hope. Next year, I'm going to try to combine it with either open house or parent-teacher conference nights to try to get people there. But even though it was not well attended, I did get 3 children signed up and families for resources and help. And then I put some upcoming dates down there. We have a PTO meeting tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock at Dixon. And next you can see there. Thank you. And I'm going to excuse myself because the 5th grade is having a video conference.
I know. Go cheer for 'em.
Southside Middle School Good News Report. As far as athletics, all 4 Southside Middle School basketball teams have begun their season. We have good numbers on our squads this year. Girls teams are off to a pretty good start. Boys teams struggling a little bit this time. Wrestling has begun off to good numbers, and we're also part of the elementary wrestling program with some students at Dixon as well. And wrestling is up and going. To be honest, we have some number difficulties in cheerleading. Our cheerleading numbers are down, and we'll try to be making sure we get that taken care of for next fall, where our cheerleading numbers back up. Veterans Day, under the guidance of Mrs. Cowan, Southside Middle School and Columbiana High School held a very moving Veterans Day program. The program was filled with participation by students from both buildings. There was a very good turnout by local veterans, and they were very appreciative. They loved the program, and they loved the recognition of what they've done for the country. Social activity was also provided following the program that was well received by the guests as they met some of the students and hung around and talked. It was a great job by Mrs. Cowan and those teachers that assisted her. As Mrs. Sharson said, evaluations are continuing. We have some new procedures and methods being used this year, and we're working into the new evaluation procedures provided by the ODE. We also had parent-teacher conferences. We had a full night with over 100 conferences being held on November the 26th. We also had a school safety lockdown. Ours was on November 26th. Students were all quickly accounted for, and the building was officially secured. And we're continuing our regular fire drills and rapid dismissals each month. Mrs. Sharson already hit on our professional development. Ours mirrored the elementary school. Important dates coming up as we speak. There's a Southside Middle School band concert going on. The 19th is our choir concert. And immediately when we come back from our holiday vacation, January the 7th is the Geography Bowl, as it's 1 o'clock. And if you've never seen a Geography Bowl, it's very interesting. It's amazing how much some of the students know about social studies and geography. And that is the Southside Middle School report. At least wait till you're done.
A lot of this stuff, again, won't be repeated. Under my report, academics and curriculum, Dave and Kim did a nice job talking about the December 2nd meeting. The only thing I'll add to that is it was nice to see high school and middle school staff, or some of our departments actually, got a chance to work together, and it was nice to start to see that vertical alignment and the expectations of what's happening in the grade above you. I thought was very enlightening. Park testing, slowly but surely, we've been given little bits of information along the way about how the new state testing is going to be run. I know we have some teachers at the high school really trying to incorporate some technology into the testing, because these will be the first generation all computer-based testing. So having those skills will be really important. Guest lecturers, a representative from the Bradford School will be presenting in the school tomorrow to our psychology and AP government classes. The topic's going to be changing roles in the workplace. So that's what's going to take place tomorrow. Financial aid night is coming up. That will be 6:30, January 8th at Latonia High School. That's for parents of current juniors and seniors. They're encouraged to attend, and counselors will be available to help parents go through the FAFSA system and learn how to fill out forms. I know Mr. Bills are Under student events, National Honor Society is going to be participating in Care and Share with the United Auto Workers on December 18th. They'll be packing food for holiday items for needy families. NHS and student government have both helped with the Joy of Christmas light show in the park, and I just have to say a special thank you to Jen Sant and Holly Ferguson who helped those two clubs. They work a lot of hours with the kids, and they do a great job. Students and community, Dave touched on the Veterans Assembly. It was a really moving, nice assembly, and I want to say thank you to student government for providing refreshments after the assembly. Congratulations to Dylan Edwards. He was the winner of the Voice of Democracy script writing contest, and he got $500 for that. And he has the opportunity to compete in the District 6 competition. He won the contest by delivering a speech entitled Why I Am Optimistic About Our Nation's Future. The speech was judged based on originality, content, and delivery. Really good news, CHS in the recent blood drive gave over 50 pints. In comparison, I think last year was like 13 pints, so they did a great job. And under athletics in school, just want to say a special good luck to our winter athletics, basketball, wrestling. Special good luck. Congratulations to Michael Buzzard for being named to the All-Ohio team for football. And announcement that our high school and band and choir concert will be on the 18th at 7:30. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kelly, just one thing, I wanted to acknowledge Don too for the nice words he put in our clipper paper, Jay, and my behalf too there. I think it's always been one of Don's strong suits, always acknowledging people, and I think that's why, the school runs the way it does, because when people, deserve praise, you've always been willing, to give it. Not that we deserve any, but you've always done a good job of recognizing, people. And thank you for the nice words in the paper also. Also, I've been very much enjoyed working with the administrative staff here. All of them, it's a top-notch group, and I'm really gonna miss it. And the rest of the board members here, it is kind of going to be a little bit different for me here. I'm kind of caught between whether, if the time comes and you think you're going to, be ready to leave, then you get to the point where maybe I'm going to miss this a little bit. But I do want to thank everybody, for working, together so well, in the staff here. It has been a pleasure. So thank you.
Item number 6, we have no public input. I think we don't need that. Do we need that in comment?
No.
Item number 8.
I'd like to consider approving the minutes from the October 8, 2013 and November 5, 2013 regular meetings of the Board of Education.
Second. Discussion? Call the roll.
Hold on. There's a couple of, and I can give them to the treasurer pro tem. I guess there's a misspelling on the October 8th. Guy is spelled by. If we're putting down the permanent record terms, you should correct that.
What page?
Which one was that?
That would be the only correction.
Oh, right here.
By. Oh, okay. Okay.
That's it.
The bottom. Okay. Call the roll.
Hudson,
Yes.
Whitmer,
Yes.
Guy,
Yes.
Roncone,
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 9.
Move to consider approving the October 2013 and November 2013 financial reports.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Should we ask Don some questions?
We could ask him some questions.
You could ask me some.
Call the roll.
Hudson,
Yes.
Whitmer,
Yes.
Guy,
Yes.
Roncone,
Yes.
Hurdle.
Motion passes. Item number 10.
Make a motion to consider, make a motion to approve, or to consider approving an amendment to 2013 Section 125 Flexible Benefit Plan, extending the grace period to the carryover of the unused contributions.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Okay. Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 11.
I'd like to make a motion to consider setting a date, time, and place for the budget hearing on the proposed tax budget for the period July 1, 14 through June 30, 2015, and direct the treasurer to make the proposed budget available for public examination 10 days in advance of the scheduled hearing. Also direct the treasurer to advertise the particulars of such hearing as required by law. Date and time, Tuesday, January 14, 2014, time 6:30 p.m. Place, Columbiana High School Media Center.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 12.
I'd like to consider election of Kelly Whitmer as President Pro Tem for the 2014 organizational meeting of the board.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Abstain.
Guy?
Okay.
Ronco? Hurdle?
Motion barely passes. Item 13.
I move to consider setting the date, time, and place of the year 2014 organizational meeting and January 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education for Tuesday, January 14th, following the budget hearing in the Columbiana High School Media Center.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. I'd like to consider the appointment, make a motion to consider the appointment of a student achievement liaison to the Ohio School Boards Association for 2014, a one-year term. Name, Mr. Tony Roncone.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Abstain.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 15.
Consider the appointment of a legislative liaison to the Ohio School Board Association for the 2014 one-year term. Kelly Whitmer.
I guess I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Abstain.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. We are omitting 16. So item 17.
Would like to make a motion to consider setting the compensation of board members for the 2014 year for a maximum of 12 meetings. Maximum rate as authorized by Ohio Revised Code Section 3313.12, currently $125 per meeting, as provided Board of Education Bylaw 0147.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 18.
I'd like to consider approving per directive of the OHSAA track and field manual, Columbiana High School's participation in indoor track during the 2013-14 school year at various area universities and colleges.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 19.
Move to consider a resolution the transportation of the following students by school conveyance is impracticable, and authorizing a contract with parents and guardians of the listed pupils to pay them in lieu of transportation services for the 2013-14 school year as listed below.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 20.
To make a motion to consider approving the resignation of Amy McCormick as the middle school yearbook advisor for the 2013-14 school year.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 21.
I'd like to consider a motion approving the following personnel as volunteer for pupil activity program for the 2013-14 school year as recommended by the superintendent, names as listed below.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 22.
I consider approving the appointment of Mike Clark as athletic department game help for the 13-14 school year, retroactive to his first day work through January 1st, 2014, as recommended by the superintendent, compensation in accordance with board approved schedules.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 23.
Move to consider approving employment of the following personnel as director, supervisor, or coach of the pupil activity program for the 2013-14 school year, as recommended by the superintendent, with compensation in accordance with board approved schedules, pending verification of all credentials. Head varsity baseball coach, Kyle Moore.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 24.
To make a motion to consider approving the appointment of the following personnel as director, supervisor, coach for pupil activity program for the 2013-14 school year, as recommended by the superintendent, with compensation in accordance with board approved schedules, pending verification of all credentials. 8th grade boys basketball coach, Larry Gilbert.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 25.
I'd like to consider a motion approving the employment of the following personnel for 13-14 school year as recommended by the superintendent, with compensation according to board approved schedules, retroactive to the first day worked, pending verification of all credentials. Substitute support staff, Austin Gill.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson.
Yes.
Whitmer.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes.
Ronco.
Yes.
Hurdle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 26.
I'd consider approving the CHS marching band and choir field trip to Virginia, April 3rd through the 5th, 2014, 2 school days for the itinerary provided with this agenda.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a couple questions. Is that over a spring break?
Let me see. The date on that was,
No? It's April 3rd, that's why we're there.
yeah, our spring break.
Easter.
Okay.
It's the 20th, 18th is we're off the 18th through the 21st.
They're going from here. They're missing 2 days.
Friday.
Thursday, Friday.
Oh, Thursday and Friday, that's right, okay.
2 school days.
And as far as, and I know we've done these before, but liability-wise, they aren't using school buses. This is basically a trip that is organized by the band or by the...
Band boosters.
Boosters, okay. And what is our responsibility? Just curious.
Well, I think we have a great deal of responsibility. Anytime we send kids on any kind of field trip, whether it be overnight or whether it be through one of the organizations, It's being run by our band director, and being chaperoned essentially by band boosters who are generally our parents of our kids. But I think we have a great deal of liability anytime we send a field trip, and certainly when we need to go through the process of approving it here. We can't absolve ourselves, I don't believe, from a liability simply because the boosters are organizing and maybe picking up some of the tab for kids.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I just hope everybody does realize that too. Whenever we approve something like this, we are taking on the responsibility, even if somebody wants to say it's not a school trip. It is if we approve it.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's the only questions I had.
Yeah.
Call the roll?
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Guy?
Yes.
Roncone?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Item number 27, President's Report. Well, I would like to take this time also to thank Randy and Jay for all their dedication and time and years of putting our district in a good place and giving all your time. And I think you guys don't, the general public doesn't even realize how much time really goes into the things you do when you're on the school board. And the things you guys have taught me in the past 4 years, really, you come in and you guys will see, you come in and you have ideas of what it is, and other board members really, with the experience, really help you through that. And I really do appreciate that. Even though you listened to me when you needed to, that's good. But no, seriously, you guys really made it fun, and you gave it really good effort in hearing both sides of the story. And I do appreciate it. Thank you. And we will miss you.
I'll miss you guys too.
And I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, very safe holidays, and I hope to see you all back here in June.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Item number 28, OSBA Legislative Liaison Report, and I do have a report. Jay, I have a report. House Bill 264 is the diabetes legislation, and one of the things that I found interesting about it was that it's going to place a significant mandate on the district if it passes, with serving students that have diabetes, and what it'll do to the districts to have to expand their services and their knowledge and all the things that they'll have to, supply. So it's definitely something that's going to, if it does pass, it will require a lot of thought and money. So it's definitely something that, we need to watch very closely. House Bill 237, the anti-Common Core legislation. This one would repeal the Common Core state standards in Ohio, and it'll avoid any actions taken to adopt or implement the standards. And OSB does not support the provisions in this bill. Senate Bill 220, dual enrollment. This will remove several of the provisions enacted earlier this year with the House Bill 59 that prevents school districts from charging fees in dual enrollment programs. So that's something that, depending on how that goes, what it could cost the district, whether it's passed on to the people or the district. That is my report. Item number 29, OSBA Student Achievement Liaison Report. I was giving you a chance. I didn't skip you. Okay. Item 30, Columbiana County Career Center Board Member Report.
Rather than give a report, I'd just like to say to Randy and Jay, you guys are the reason I'm here. You both have done a remarkable job for this district and for the people of this community, for the students, for the kids. I want to take the opportunity to thank both of you. I obviously know you and have known you both for a long time. You have done a fantastic job, and you definitely will be missed. So thank you. And Merry Christmas to everyone.
Item 31, date of next board meeting, Tuesday, January 14th, 2014 at 6:30 p.m. in the School Media Center, where we will be bringing in Ms. Mr. Michael Clark and Mr. Scott Karen, our 2 new board members. Item 32.
Make a motion to consider an executive session for the employment, dismissal, or compensation of an employee, or the investigation of charges or complaints against an employee. Possible litigation in matters required to be kept confidential by federal law, rules, or state statutes as defined by ORC 121.22.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Hudson?
Yes.
Whitmer?
Yes.
Yes.
Guy? Ronco?
Yes.
Hurdle?
Yes.
Motion passes. We are in executive session.